when talking about linear growth has what is known as a common difference. You also know this as the word what? What is the common difference also known as in linear growth or linear equations? What part of a linear equation?
Constant.
It's not the constant, it's the other one.
The other one. The other word.
What's the other piece? If it's not the constant, it's the slope. The slope is known as the common difference. So when we look at an example in a table, all right, and we have x and we have y, and it's going up 1, 2, 3, 4. This might be, for example, 5, 8, 11, 14. We can find the common difference by subtracting one term by its previous term. So, this one right here is going by +1, +1, and +1. The x's are going by +1. And as we can see here, if I subtract 8 minus 5, I get 3. 3. 3. So the common difference of this one is 3 over 1, which of course is just 3. The common difference in linear growth is also known as that slope that we should be able to identify. Okay? Now, when we talk about exponential growth, we don't have a common difference. We have like a common multiple, right? It's kind of weird. We don't actually call it a common multiple. We call it the growth factor. You could think of this as the multiplier. The multiplier. How much is it multiplying by? So for example, in our table, if we make a table, and this is x and this is y, 1, 2, 3, 4. This might be, for example, 2, 6, 18, 54. So how do I find the growth factor? How do you think I find the growth factor in this problem? And over here in the common difference, I pick two values like this. And then, as long as I'm making sure it's going up by +1, that's as important too. And all I did was 8 minus 5. I subtracted the two numbers. I took one number and I subtracted the number before because I knew it was linear. What do you think I'm going to do in this case? How do I find the common growth? Okay, tell me what the multiplier is? What the growth factor in this example is? It's 3. How did you get that? So you said, because if I do 2 times 3, I get 6. Okay? Now, you did some other math in your head to get to that number. You were thinking, what times you did in your head? There we go. Division. We can take any number, in this case 6, and we divide it by the previous number. We take any number and we divide it by the previous number as long as it's going up by 1s. And I get 3. So in this one, this problem, my growth factor is 3. I had printed out quite a bit, and then there was like, I think like 10 people said that they wanted a second one. I can go make some more copies. Thank you so much. Yeah, I made 30. Thank you so much. So we just take anyone and we divide it by times 3. But it's like Carlos said over there as well. You could ask yourself, what times what gives me 3? Now, the number doesn't always turn out perfectly. When the number's an integer, like times 2, times 3, times 4, you could probably do that in your head and say, what number times 2 gives me 6? What number times 6 gives me 18? What number times 18 gives me 54? And that's times 3, times 3, times 3. But if you can't, you just divide any 2 terms. Now, the last thing I want to know is that there's another way of finding growth factor that's not a table that you need to know. It's the last part I have in my notes. I don't have much space because that's all I need. And then we're going to work on the rest of the class. And this is interest rates to growth factor. So the idea here is that if I have an R% interest, capital R, okay, I'm going to take that number and I'm going to divide it by 100, and that's going to give me little r, okay? For example, if I have 2%, what's little r? If I had 2%, what would little r be? What's 2 divided by 100? How do we change a percentage to a decimal? Okay, so another way, I'll do an example. Okay. And so if I do this, then the growth factor is 1 plus r. 1 plus r is the growth factor. Now this answer should be a number, and it should give you a number like 1 point something. So you're not going to, so for example, if it was 2%, you're not going to do 1 plus 2, because if you did 1 plus 2, you'd get 3. That's too big. Your answer should always be 1 point something. So if you go, oh, so for example, I'll just do a quick example here. If we had 2% interest, little r would be 0.02, and so my growth factor would be 1 plus 0.02, which would be 1.02. So that's how you would do that. All right, so that's what I have for you for notes.